From vampire baby dolls to bodies found in Benjamin Franklin's basement, here are 8 creepy and random discoveries. Number 9. Pokémon Go Find a Body. It started as a normal day in Wyoming for 19-year-old Shayla Wiggins. Launched recently, Pokémon Go is an augmented reality game that allows players to catch Pokémon on their smartphones around their own neighborhoods. Like so many others, Wiggins was eager to play this version of the blockbuster 1990s Game Boy video game. Wiggins started playing Thursday night, catching 50 virtual animals as she walked through a parking lot and a gas station. On Friday morning, she grabbed her iPhone 6 and slipped on a pair of sandals. She then went for a walk to explore the Big Wind River, which winds behind her home in the town of Riverton. "I was trying to get a water Pokemon," she explained. The game gives caution to users to keep aware of their surroundings. But like most people playing, Wiggins was just staring at her phone. She made her way beneath the Wyoming Highway 789 bridge. She spotted 2 deer near the water, but unfortunately for her, still no Pokemon. So she walked down to the Rocky River bank. "I guess I was only paying attention to my phone and where I was walking," she said. She didn't immediately notice the man's body lying face down in the water 6 feet to her left. When she realized she was actually standing next to a corpse, she immediately called the police. Investigators think it's likely an accidental death and the man was drowned at the spot, where the water is only 3 feet deep. "I probably would have never went down there if it weren't for this game," Shayla Wiggins admitted. "But in a way, I'm thankful. I feel like I helped find his body. He could have been there for days." Number 8. Frilled Shark. Used to be considered extinct at one point, frilled sharks were spotted in recent years in the deepest depths of the ocean, lurking around, searching for their next prey. In 2017, a trawler in the Sea of Portugal set off with a couple of researchers to conduct experiments and research how to minimize unwanted catch as to protect the natural balance of the marine ecosystem. However, what they encountered during their perilous underwater journey was one of the rarest finds in history. Frilled sharks are known as the living fossils of the sea, as they've been around for 80 million years and haven't really changed at all. These sharks existed when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, so it was pretty shocking when the researchers stumbled across one. The frilled shark is described as having a long, slim body with a head that resembles something like a snake. They are active predators and may lunge at potential prey, swallowing it whole, even if it's quite large. Their normal swimming style, however, is distinctly eel-like, as they swim in a serpentine fashion, kind of like a shark-snake hybrid, which is beyond creepy. They prefer to dine on squid, and they have several rows of long teeth, each with 3 long points that are perfect for snagging the soft bodies of their prey. Though they specialize on squids, frilled sharks are known to eat a variety of fish and also other sharks. They have 300 teeth in their mouth and a hinged jaw, perfect for catching larger prey. It's also known to exhibit snake-like behaviors as it wraps itself around its victim, constricting it to death. In 2007, an even rarer sight occurred when surfers at one of the beaches in Australia saw a live frilled shark on the surface. The shark had made its way to the top of the waters as it was sick or injured. It soon died after being transferred to a marine park. Very little is known about these creatures. The limited information that scientists do have is based on dissection of individuals captured in deep-sea net fisheries and observation of the occasional live individual in captivity. They have been found off the coast of Japan, Australia, and throughout the depths of the Atlantic. However, it is not known how many are still alive since these sharks dwell in extreme depths. Number 7. Tailless whip scorpion. If you have a fear of spiders, then this next creepy discovery might give you nightmares. Do you recall in the movie Goblet of Fire by JK Rawlings, based on the book of course, the poor spider that's used to show the unforgivable curse to the students? Actually, this creature isn't a spider at all, but spider-kin. It's a spider-scorpion hybrid. Yes, you heard that correctly. It's an ancient order of arachnid, and it looks like something from a horror movie. This terrifying-looking scorpion can range from 1.5 to 30 inches in leg span. Their bodies are highly flattened and broad. This gives them their fierce look, suggesting that they're ready to pounce at any time. Like a spider, they have 8 legs. However, it only uses 6 to move around sideways. The other 2 are used as sensory organs and can protrude several times longer than its own body. These arthropods do really exist in nature, even though they're pretty hard to find. In 2016, one was captured on camera with its babies by a French 20-year-old student, Jordan Carriat. In the pictures, it can be seen that the Tailless whip scorpion has spider-like features, like modified fangs, to chew its prey before digestion. What's shocking is that it's not dangerous to humans, even though it looks like it very well could be one of the most deadly creatures on the planet. It doesn't have a venomous tail, nor can it produce silk like spiders. It has a very nervous temperament that pushes it to hide whenever it encounters danger. The Tailless whip scorpion is one of the few animals that exhibit social behaviors. It is able to communicate with its younglings through its antennae. The younglings hatch from a sac present in the female and crawl their way onto its back. Those that fall off from the back of the female do not survive. All in all, these creatures might not be harmful to humans, but they're certainly one of the creepiest and also most unique on our list. Number 6. Frankenstein mummies. In 2002, a team of archaeologists embarked on a journey to find lost sites and artifacts, and ended up in Scotland. Upon excavation of a possible lost artifact site, the archaeologists stumbled across bones of 2 individuals, a man and a woman. It was discovered that the bodies were immediately buried but mummified and thrown in the Scottish bog for 300 to 400 years before being put into the ground. The bodies were said to be over 3,000 years old, making it a remarkable discovery for the research team. Upon closer inspection, something terrifying was noticed, as the woman's jaw seemed larger than her skull, while the limbs on the man's body were out of place. This raised serious questions as to how this was possible, and led to speculation that they were somehow perhaps mutated humans. However, the truth is far more shocking than anyone would have guessed. 10 years after coming across the site, the researchers sent DNA samples to labs for analysis to determine the mutated human's characteristics to make sense of the story. Terry Brown, a professor of biomedical archaeology, said the following on the female skeleton: "The jaw didn't fit into the rest of the skull." His colleague, Mike, came and said, "Could we try to work it out through DNA testing?" The inquiry soon turned disturbing when the DNA results came back, suggesting that the bodies were not of 2 people, but of 6 people put together. The morbid jigsaw puzzle was made by putting 3 dead people in the same time frame together into the female, while the man's structure was made from people who had died hundreds of years apart from each other. Researchers had come to the conclusion that whoever did this must have been deranged, since these were not bones pushed together, but bodies preserved when they were attached. Mummified flesh could be found on those bones, suggesting that it must be part of a madman's experiment, just like the fictional Frankenstein. Can you imagine coming across a real-life Frankenstein monster? What's the creepiest thing you've ever stumbled upon in your everyday life? Let me know in the comments below. Then be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up. Number 5. Stone Age Genocide. In 2015, a team of archaeologists stumbled across a strange discovery in Austria. Anything from the medieval or Stone Ages certainly gets archaeologists excited, but this one had their stomachs churning. The team found a Stone Age mass grave that had the remains of 26 people. All over the world, graveyards and/or remains have become common, since the world has existed for millions of years and civilizations come and go. What's really interesting is to study those remains and investigate how people used to live back in the day. Upon further investigation, the team of researchers understood that the graveyard site appeared to be a genocide of an entire tribe. It is said that the mass murders had occurred between 2 farmer tribes over land territory issues. The people who lay in those graves seemed to be running from something or someone before being bashed in the back of the head and killed. Some were shot down by arrows, while others had their legs crushed so that they couldn't escape the torture. Those that were killed were dragged to the mass burial site. The victims included children and men, while the women were supposedly made to watch the horrifying genocide. How do they know this? It's believed that once this mass murder ceremony was over, the women were taken away and forced to serve the men who had murdered their families. However, one of the archaeologists from the University of Illinois, Lawrence Keeley, was not convinced that the incident relates to torture. Lawrence stated, "Torture focuses on the parts of the body with the most nerve cells, feet, hands, and head. What he believes is that the murderers had smashed the shins of the villagers after they had killed them to eliminate their ghost from pursuing their killers as a final act of revenge." Interesting theory, and definitely creepy. Number 4, dried skate devilfish. The beliefs of 16th century scientists were imaginative, to say the least. It's hard to tell if these taxidermy specimens were the result of pre-evolution naivety or religious fervor turned hoax, but for a few centuries, Europeans believed they were fishing devils out of the sea. Dried or preserved skates presented as devils, demons, dragons, angels, or even mermaids. It's easy to see why they thought this. I mean, take a look for yourself. Of course, we now know that these creatures are not infernal beings or long-sought cryptids, rather a variety of fish known as skates. Closely related to rays, these devilfish are harmless bottom feeders. Although they look like creatures from hell, it does have a lighter story behind it. The dried skate devilfish originated in the 1500s and was discovered by sailors. Back in those days, sailors would be out on the sea, away from home for months. Since there was no modern communication technology, sailors couldn't talk with their families either. However, what was expected of those sailors upon their return was something exciting, unique, and different that would act as a souvenir and memorialize their ventures on sea back home. Under such pressure from their villages and family, sailors would come up with ways of crafting new things to return home with and literally fool everyone into believing that they brought back ancient artifacts. Bamboozlers. Sailors would creatively cut the skatefish and add different materials to it before letting it dry, turning it into the legendary alien-esque dried skate devilfish. In the 1500s, this item would fascinate many as the sailors made stories about how they encountered and captured them. Although very creepy looking, the dried skate devilfish is not really what it seems. Number 3, vampire baby doll. If you weren't already creeped out by this list so far, this next one might get you. One fine afternoon, a baby doll mysteriously appeared in a cemetery in Mexico next to an unmarked grave. The creepy doll had a bottle of blood next to it, making the incident even more disturbing. The doll instantly went viral on social media platforms as somebody uploaded the video of the baby doll as the eyes followed the man wherever he went. The video got over 350,000 views overnight and was dubbed as the Doll of the Devil. The vampire doll was instantly compared to the movie character Chucky, a doll possessed by a soul of a vicious murderer. However, these incidents are not new in Mexico. Remote regions of the country are still known as centers of black magic, and a few isolated people there practice strange spiritual traditions or even worship Satan himself. Some provide offerings to fix their lives or provide food, wealth, and health. Recently, a reporter had found a village of wizards and witches in Mexico, where many practice the art of black magic. Rituals are performed and offerings provided to the dark deity to start a curse. Often, dolls are used as it is believed that the devil can control human beings through dolls. So imagine a doll mysteriously showing up at a cemetery with a bottle of blood. That's terrifying. Especially when the doll watches you wherever you go. Many commented on the video, stating that it's possible that the doll watching is an optical illusion, but that doesn't stop it from being scary. I wouldn't go anywhere near it, personally. Number 2, Benjamin Franklin's basement. For nearly 20 years leading up to the signing of the Declaration of Independence, Benjamin Franklin lived in London in a house at 36 Craven Street. In 1776, Franklin left his English home to come back to America. More than 200 years later, in 1998, conservationists were doing repairs on 36 Craven, looking to turn Franklin's old house into a museum. While the team was renovating, they found multiple bodies in the basement, buried in a secret windowless room beneath the garden. From a 1 meter wide, 1 meter deep pit, over 1,200 pieces of bone were retrieved, remnants of more than a dozen bodies, says Benjamin Franklin House. 6 were children. Forensic investigations showed that the bones dated to Franklin's day. What in the world was going on, Ben? Franklin was a noted revolutionary and powerful Freemason, the Grand Master of Masons of Pennsylvania, so it's easy to wonder what sort of dark secrets Franklin may have hidden in his basement chamber. But the truth, it turns out, isn't quite so dark. The most plausible explanation is not mass murder, but an anatomy school run by Benjamin Franklin's young friend and protege, William Hewson, said The Guardian in 2003. Still, in Franklin's time, anatomy lessons were a dark and ethically ambiguous business. Mental Floss had this to say: anatomy was still in its infancy, but the day's social and ethical mores frowned upon it. A steady supply of human bodies was hard to come by legally, so Hewson, Hunter, and the field's other pioneers had to turn to grave robbing, either paying professional resurrection men to procure cadavers or digging them up themselves to get their hands on specimens. Researchers think that 36 Craven was an irresistible spot for Hewson to establish his own anatomy lab. The tenant was a trusted friend, the landlady was his mother-in-law, and he was flanked by convenient sources for corpses. Bodies could be smuggled from graveyards and delivered to the wharf at one end of the street, or snatched from the gallows at the other end. When he was done with them, Hewson simply buried whatever was left of the bodies in the basement, rather than sneak them out for disposal elsewhere and risk getting caught and prosecuted for dissection and grave robbing. Franklin was probably aware of the illegal studies going on in his building, says Benjamin Franklin House, but it's doubtful he was involved himself. Still, we can't imagine that, curious man that he was, he didn't sneak down and check out the proceedings at least once or twice. Number 1. Lisula, the human monkey. This discovery isn't as creepy as the rest, if you ask me, but hey, some people are creeped out by certain creatures. Initially observed in 2000 in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Lisula is a rare species of newly discovered monkey. What makes the Lisula so unique is their appearance. Lisula looks a lot more like humans than chimpanzees do, although it's believed that humans have evolved from chimps and not monkeys. The Lisula is a calm and pensive mammal with features resembling you and I. Its eyes are a bit rounder than human eyes, however. It's not just the eyes, but also its long nose that sets them apart from other monkeys. What makes this mammal creepy, to some, is how it looks at you with its teary eyes. It almost makes it look like it's a human trapped in an animal's body. The animal is able to communicate through its facial expressions, showing concerns, signs of danger, happiness, and more. After Lisula was discovered, many took to the internet to discuss how adorable the monkey is. Lisula was able to melt many hearts with its human-like look. However, there are many of us that cannot come to terms with it. Its resemblance is uncanny and does make some people very, very uncomfortable. Thanks for watching. Which one of these discoveries was the creepiest to you? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!